Well, the Attorney General could review the sentencing of the man who killed 3 people in Nottingham last June after receiving a submission that it was unduly lenient. Valdo Calocane is expected to spend the rest of his life in a high-security hospital. He was suffering from paranoid schizophrenia at the time and has been sentenced for manslaughter on the basis of diminished responsibility. The victim's family say true justice has not been served.
Well, joining us this morning is anti-violence campaigner Alison Cope. Alison lost her son Joshua to a fatal knife attack in 2013. Alison, thank you very much indeed for being with us this morning. The victim's family is very, very clear. Yesterday, they felt let down. I wonder what you thought as you watched them yesterday.
To actually know how they feel and know what they're facing as well as what they're faced it's just so sad. We're having lots of conversations about this, and I think the key message is prevention. You know, if more had been done to stop the perpetrator in their case, you know, all the mental health services, etc., they wouldn't have had to face this level of pain. And I think preventative measures are where we're failing in this country. And I hear lots of conversations about this, and I just hope, as a mum who's lost her only son, that this isn't just a whole conversation we're having to get votes. I really hope that what's said is what is actually done.
Alison, I couldn't agree more. Just in terms, you mentioned your son there. Do you want to remind people about your own horrific experience?
Yeah, so my only son, Josh, was killed in 2013. He was stabbed directly into his heart. The young man that was a perpetrator had no previous convictions. You know, there was no warning signs, but he carried a knife out of fear. Now, I deliver to around 4,000 young people a week at the moment across the UK, and I'm asking them what they think of the country. How are they feeling when they leave their homes? They're really, really scared. I have never been to a school where young people are saying they feel safe. You know, we've just allowed this to get out of control now, and to go back and make our young people feel safe and make this country better, whether the government likes it or not, is going to take investment. Having conversations about, can we afford it? Is there a price on our children's lives? Are they not priority in this country? I don't care how they have to get the money, because they're very selective of when they do find money. You know, for any parent watching this, what's the price on your child? There is no price. If your child can be saved and it costs the government millions of pounds, that is money worth spending.
And when you speak to these young people, can I just ask, what is it about the situation they find themselves in? Why do they feel they have to carry a huge knife?
Yeah, I mean, it's not always a huge knife. Any knife is not acceptable. The #1 murder weapon in the West Midlands is a kitchen knife. So all these conversations about zombie knives and machetes have got a valid point, but that's not going to stop every young person being murdered. For me, I think a lot of young people are influenced by what they're told, which is very normal. So if you've got, you know, 60 million views on, you know, social media, the various platforms saying stabbings, gangs, drugs, then we always love to throw in no police, no youth services. Our young people are believing that because we're not giving a stronger message to make them feel safe. So they just believe that the world is horrific and that nobody would help them, and they don't want to die. They don't want to lose their life. That is not a reason or an acceptable reason to ever carry a weapon, but that is what I'm hearing day in, day out. Primary school, secondary school, colleges across the UK, not in a city, everywhere. Now, these conversations have been had for many years, you know, and we've had many opportunities to get a grip of it, and we haven't. So my only hope is that, you know, whether it be for an election, whether it be because of celebrities getting involved, that we actually do a lot more than we are currently doing and stop repeating the same mistakes that have been made.
Yeah, you mentioned celebrities getting involved. Of course, the actor Idris Elba now speaking out very loudly and clearly on this issue. You talked about zombie knives and the fact that the majority of knife crime in your area is committed by using kitchen knives. So When we see the government announcing this ban on zombie knives, tougher sentences, do you think that is going to make any difference?
I think it will just see a change. You know, zombie knives are not legal, but the government's going to make it more difficult for people to sell, import, which obviously is a good thing. It's the mindset I'm seeing that is a major, major problem. So if you remove zombie knives, a knife is accessible, you know, in everybody's home. We've got people in prison that make weapons. We've got people on the streets that make weapons. What is the mindset that is making young people do this? Why are young people feeling that is an acceptable choice? And so we need to come from different strands of this, making it very difficult for young people to access these horrific weapons.
And of course, you mentioned earlier, you hope this isn't just about playing politics. Now, we've heard tough talk from the Conservatives, also from the Labour Party. They're trying to tighten the legislation as well. Isn't it time that all the parties came together? We had cross-party agreement on what we do, how we stamp this out, what we do, how we intervene, and make sure we prevent it in the first place.
Absolutely. The government have had so many, you know, universities and people do all this research as to what will be effective, presented it to government, but it's just not a priority, or they prioritise it when there's an election, when there's a celebrity, when there's a horrific murder, and then they go on to the next subject. So we need somebody within the government to be the lead on this and be consistently the lead, not, you know, not stay in the role for a year, get promoted, move jobs. They need to focus on this long term, and then we will see a long term reduction and young people will be saved. What the Labour Party is saying feels far more the kind of thing that we need to be doing, the prevention element of it. You know, young people, you know, the people in the studio there were saying about, you know, there's no research to say about youth facilities, but I see every day how there are so many lost young people that desperately need guidance, desperately need a safe place to be. And if that youth facility can offer that, that is only a positive.
Alison, thank you very much indeed for talking to us and sharing your thoughts this morning. Devastating story from Alison, and someone who speaks from tragic experience on this subject.